Hey, this is Bruce. Welcome to the premiere episode of Talking Microsoft. Now, this is a concept show that I've had in my mind for a long time. And this is just a pilot. I wanted to gauge everybody's reaction to it, how well it does, and views, and the amount of comments we get, and shares and likes. And if it is positive, then this will be a regular part of the Frugal Tech channel. So, of course, being the pilot, there's going to be some glitches as I work some things out with the Open Broadcaster and all that. But I really want to share with you some of the exciting things going on with Microsoft, what's going on with Redmond, and that's what we're here to talk. That's the whole purpose of the show, talk about everything going on with Microsoft. And this episode is going to focus a lot about what's happening around Windows. So let's get started with what's happening with Windows 10. And the first thing that I think we should cover is, July of 2016 ain't that far away. And that's the line in the sand to get the free upgrades, right, to Windows 10. Then after that, what happens? Well, according to an article written by Edbot at ZDNet, there's really one of three scenarios. Now, the first scenario, one that definitely there's a lot of precedent for, is that we will have to pay for these upgrades starting, August the 1st or July the 30th. We'll have to pay for the upgrades, but there really are two other scenarios that are worth discussing. And of course, the first scenario being that we have to pay for it. But here, the second scenario, Microsoft extends the free upgrade offer indefinitely. Wouldn't that be cool? So, the point of putting, and I agree with that, the point of having a deadline is to do what? Is to get people motivated to do something. Well, you're going to still have a lot of people that are still running Windows 7 and Windows 8 8.1 out there. And if they've not upgraded by July the 29th, there's a reason, in my opinion, why they haven't done that. It may be because they don't like the telemetry that Windows 10 collects and the privacy issue. Maybe there's certain things that don't work correctly for them in Windows 10. They've got their own reasons why they haven't upgraded. But Microsoft is very much interested in making as many devices on board Windows 10 they can. So the possibility that they might just kick the can down the road a little bit more is another possibility. Now, here's a kicker to this. Perhaps they would kick it down the road indefinitely. All right, they could make that decision. Okay, just upgrade whenever you're ready. The third scenario, and this could be somewhat likely, is a new free upgrade offer replaces the current offer. There's, new versions of Windows 10. It is Windows as a service, new builds. So maybe it'll give something for Microsoft to give people that's held back a reason to, get back into upgrading to Windows 10, right? That's the whole idea behind it. Now, the next question comes to mind, and I made a video about this a long time ago. Windows as a service, as a subscription. And I gave a list of reasons why I think that will happen. And I have no reason not to believe that won't happen. But there are some other voices out there saying, no, and they make sense. And I want to share that with you because, if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. And after I read this article about why Microsoft Windows will never be a paid subscription, it makes sense. Let me go ahead and share that with you right here. And that is, and I'm just going to cut right to the meat and potatoes of the argument here. Everything, of course, in business boils down to money, folks. That's what ultimately it boils down to. In 2015, Microsoft took in $93 billion. $93 billion. About half of, about $2.5 billion of that 93 came from retail licensing upgrades. In other words, a small fraction of the total amount of revenue Microsoft made came from paid upgrades. It's such a small amount. Now, me and you, billions of dollars. Well, that's a lot of money. But to Microsoft, it's really a small number. Perhaps what Windows as a service really means is this, is that Windows 10 is a base, right, in which other products, Microsoft products, can ride upon. Things like Office 365, Skype for Business, OneDrive, products and services that even haven't been announced yet. Ways to monetize Windows without actually charging for Windows. We go back here. We can see, if we take a look at here, almost half of Microsoft's revenue comes from what? It comes from commercial licensing. That's selling Windows to the enterprise. That comes from their server licenses, servers and tools, etc. Almost $20 billion comes from the cloud now. That's Office 365, Azure, all these other platforms. Almost the equal amount now is coming from hardware, Xbox 360, Lumia phones, Surface, etc. Then slightly over 11 billion come from OEM licensing. See, Microsoft's still not going to give Windows 10 away to PC manufacturers. They still have to pay licensing fees for it. And finally, about 2.5 billion comes from retail licensing. So almost half of if you might as well add the cloud and commercial together, you've got a bulk 40, 60, you've got about $75 billion coming from just businesses and people buying Microsoft hardware. 75 of the 93 billion. So I think, we really need to keep that in mind. It makes sense then, if you think about it, that Microsoft would not turn Windows 10 into a subscription. They wouldn't encourage as many people to have it because it really is the platform that Microsoft is building its future on. So what they're going to do is keep Windows free. The upgrade for free. They're going to keep it the lowest barrier to entry as possible. They're not going to charge a subscription. It's going to be the base. You know the old expression, give the razor away and make your money out selling the razor blades? That's exactly what Microsoft is going to do with Windows now. It's going to be all these little services that can be tied to Windows that Microsoft will monetize in addition to their enterprise and their cloud computing products. And that makes a whole lot of sense. Now, but not as all rosy with Windows 10. Let's take a look here. Recently, according to Forbes, had an article that said that Microsoft had a change of heart about its consumer privacy settings, right? All the telemetry that Microsoft collects on its users. And Microsoft seen this and they cried foul. No, we're not going to change our consumer privacy plans. What we did do is we enabled the enterprise, right? I'll bring this up here, right here. I want to read this up. First, the Forbes post, so I can bring that up to you. It says, contact me again. A Microsoft spokesman explained the company now wanted to speak about the issue. In short, Microsoft is taking action and has decided to release updates later this year that will enable users to fully control all background telemetry and data tracking if desired. Disable it completely. Microsoft also asked me to stress that disabling these background operations is something it would strongly recommend against. That's what they said. That's in the original article. However, it turns out that they only meant for the enterprise, not for the consumer. Microsoft has made that point very, very clear. And in order to turn off these features, you will need to do it through group policy and a Windows Server domain. So you're not going to get rid of all this telemetry that Windows 10 puts out. And that's a shame because that's one of the reasons I think so many people have not upgraded to Windows 10 is out of concerns about their privacy and what Microsoft is doing with all this telemetry. It's a big, big deal. It's a huge deal, and that's kept a lot of people from upgrading to Windows 10. And certainly people have come out with tools that allow you to turn off the telemetry, only to have Windows updates come roaring back and re-enable the telemetry. It's a cat and mouse game. I've said for a long time that I think Windows 10 is the best version of operating of Windows there has ever been. It should be. It's the latest. Wouldn't it be terrible to say, well, but it's happening, right? When Microsoft did happen, I think we can all point back and, we can say that, Windows Me, not too good. Windows XP, live forever. So in the world of operating systems, the newest is not always the best. But with Windows 10, I think Microsoft has nailed it, but then they muddy the waters with this whole consumer privacy issue. Moving along, let's talk a little bit about, there we go, Xbox and the Xbox One. So here's the thing. Sony has sold, I believe the figure is 36 million PlayStation 4s since 2013, the introduction of the PlayStation 4. Microsoft has quit reporting the actual numbers, but experts peg it somewhere closer to 18 million, about half. However, Microsoft claims to have 48 million people paying for the Xbox Live. That is a ton of money, and it's $60 a year, unless you get it, discounted somewhere. $60 a year for Microsoft. Now, Microsoft has a really big release, and it's called Quantum Break. It's a new game. It was originally going to be an Xbox One exclusive. However, here's the wrinkle. Microsoft is now going to give you, when you buy the Xbox version, you're going to get a free PC download. Now, let's stop and think about this just for a second. I happen to have an Xbox 360. I've not hopped on the Xbox One train because I prefer PC gaming whenever possible. However, I'm a real busy guy. I don't game a lot. I can hardly justify the price of an Xbox One or a PS4 for that matter. I'm just not that hardcore of a dedicated gamer. And if I do like to play games, I download them cheap from Steam when they go on sale. I put them into my wish list, and when they pop in there, I buy them. Okay, that's me. But here's the thing. What's the point of paying for Xbox Live, those $60 a year, if I can buy a title and then turn around and play it on the PC? So what was originally going to be an Xbox One exclusive, now it's going to run on the PC, right? And PC gamers, as far as I know, would not like very much having to pay money to play multiplayer online because they're used to doing that for free by having a PC game. So it's very, very interesting what Microsoft's up to. Do they want to treat it like Microsoft Office? Well, the Xbox One should just be a subscription. You can have the Xbox One app on your Windows 10. Of course, you can stream Xbox One games to your PC. We know that the ability to do otherwise is coming up. In other words, stream PC games to the Xbox. That's coming down the road. So there we have it. I mean, Xbox as a service, even though Microsoft's no longer announcing Xbox console sales, the company recently announced the interesting statistics in quarterly earnings. 48 million active members. The Quantum Breakdown. So Quantum Breaks are going to be a big, big deal for Microsoft. Two things are going to happen. First off, it's going to make this big flagship flashy game something you can only play on Microsoft devices. True. Whether it's an Xbox One console or Windows computer. Second, it paves the way for more exclusive games to come to the Windows PC in the future. So, maybe Microsoft's getting us conditioned to the idea that maybe the Xbox One won't be around forever, that maybe the PC, maybe you just have an Xbox One app on your PC and get Xbox One titles or Xbox titles that way. It's going to be interesting. I'm kind of an outsider looking in on this because, again, I do not own an Xbox One. I don't have a compelling reason to have an Xbox One. I think it's a PC gamer. I have a Xbox 360. Still play the games that I want to play on it. And I just don't see where it's a really, really good investment. Let's move along. Microsoft cuts dozens of more employees with its mobile unit. In and of itself, this is not a big story. We already know that Microsoft laid off a bunch of people from Nokia when they, the company that they bought in Finland, mobile sales, their phones aren't selling very well. It's not because, look, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not because of the Windows operating system, mobile operating system is bad. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's actually quite good. The hardware itself has been kind of meh. Microsoft don't know how to market jack shit when it comes to the phones. Their advertising have always sucked. They're just not great marketers when it comes to consumer space. And they tend to blow things. Look what they did with the launch of the Xbox One. That was a total abortion, but kind of bland hardware. And then the fact that you don't have a healthy app store. So they've practically wrote off the entire purchase price of the company. I mean, they're losing money on the thing. So here's I mean, it's no surprise that they're getting rid of more people. Here's the deal, and this is what I think is really going to happen, is I think that Microsoft will, if they don't drop the Lumia brand altogether, it's going to be just a very low-end model phone or two that they will sell. But I do look for them to bring out the Surface phone. That's where I think they're going to, that will be their last hurrah on phones, is a rebranded phone. The Surface, I think they'll use the success of the Surface product line to reintroduce the phone, and hopefully they'll have a much more and better curated app store. There might be less apps, but there'll be really good ones. I think Microsoft should and would concentrate on that. But, you know, Microsoft's been bleeding jobs like crazy, even though they're extremely profitable company. But purchasing Nokia was not the best idea. They know that. No reason to rehash that. But they will continue to lay people off on the Nokia side of things. Probably keep some of the better designers and so forth working, and the same group that worked on Surface. I don't know if any Nokia people, former Nokia people, actually worked on the Surface product line, but I would suspect maybe there was some. Nokia has some very talented engineering people, so something to keep in mind. Let's talk a little bit now about, here we go. Let's talk about the future of Windows Essentials. Does it even have a future anymore? If you don't know what I'm referring to, those were add-on products that Microsoft had over the years, including Photo Gallery, Movie Maker, Live Writer, OneDrive, and Windows Live Messenger. Okay, Windows Live Messenger is now defunct. In other words, it's been replaced by Skype. However, Photo Gallery was actually pretty decent. I actually liked it. I certainly like it better than the photo app that comes with Windows 10. It just blows. Most of the, in my opinion, most of the modern apps in Windows 10 basically blows. I think a lot of you would agree with me on that point. That's because we don't really use the modern apps on desktop now, do we? Although sometimes I'll use the Twitter client just to keep going. Let's talk a little bit about Movie Maker. You know, as a content creator, whenever I talk about using Final Cut or Vegas or whatever I'm using to edit with, there's always inevitably that comment that says, hey, Bruce, you know, you can use Windows Movie Maker. It's okay. Look, yes, you can use it. It's not very fancy. It's simple to use. It doesn't have a whole lot to it, but it's free and it runs on Windows. And if you're just getting started and have no budget, sure, why not? But the thing is that Microsoft's not really updated this stuff in a long, long time. We're talking years. Should these products go away? Well, and of course, Live Writer. Let's bring that up for just a second. Windows Live Writer, I used to use the dickens out of that thing. I used to use it like crazy when I was blogging because it was just worked so well. Microsoft has now open sourced the Live Writer product, so it's still available out there and still some development going on, but is separate from the Windows Live Essentials suite. So let's talk about a little bit about OneDrive. Recently, somebody asked me about do I use for Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, etc. So I use Google Apps for Work, which is the paid version of Gmail, if you will. It's on steroids, and you've got a lot of enterprise features you don't have with regular Gmail, but that's beside the point. But I also have quite a bit of Google Drive storage. So that is my workhorse, and I sync my documents and the work I do with Google Drive. OneDrive, I just don't care for it. It's something that Microsoft needs to work. The sync is broken on OneDrive. Sync is broken badly. Guys, it don't work. OneDrive just really, it works and then it doesn't work. So it's not reliable to me. Dropbox, I like Dropbox, but I already have a paid storage service with Google Drive. So I just use the free amount of Dropbox, but it works beautifully. No problem with it. In fact, if I were to say go to Office 365 and get away from Google Apps for Work, I probably would pick up with the paid version of Dropbox. So Yeah, you have that. So one thing that happens all the time is I get, what is I've got $1,500. What's the best laptop I can get for $1,500? Well, I always say, well, what are you trying to do with it? What operating system do you like? How important is mobility? Are you going to do gaming on it, etc.? And so I thought, just for the fun of it, I would hop online and query Google, what's the best laptop in 2016? And this article from Tom's Guide, here it is, the best laptops of 2016. I just want to talk about these briefly. The Dell XPS 13, I gotta admit, I really like that laptop. I really like it, and I love the XPS 15. I'm actually partial to a 15-inch display over a 13, and I kind of rue the day that Apple quit making the 17-inch MacBook Pro. That would have been absolutely perfect for my needs. Believe it or not, 17-inch would have been absolutely perfect. Alas, that's not the case, and that is not the purpose of the show, is talk anything Apple. Let's move on. I like the Dell XPS 15, which is not an Ultrabook, but this is really, I think, the beautiful design of this laptop. I love the very thin bezel on this. It's so thin you have to put the webcam down at the bottom of the thing, right? That's kind of interesting. But let's look at some other categories here, shall we? Let's pull this up. Best cheap laptop, the Lenovo IdeaPad 100S, under $200, 11.6-inch Windows laptop with decent build quality. Does it come with the complimentary Lenovo spyware stuff? Probably. It probably does, right? Anyhow, so that's that. Then the best Apple laptop, no reason to talk about that. Let's talk about best business laptop. When you think business, you really are thinking, you should be thinking Lenovo. I will give them credit. The ThinkPad series of laptops, these things are built like tanks. I love the little rubber nub thing on the, I don't know what you call it. It's on the keyboard, a little nub that you push around with your thumb. That's actually pretty doggone handy. Anyhow, the Lenovo ThinkPad T450S. I'm not going to disagree necessarily with the Lenovo. However, Dell makes was it the Inspiron brand of laptops, also very, very good. Best ultra portable, you guessed it. Again, the Dell XPS 13. Okay, we've been over that. The best 2-in-1 Lenovo Yoga 900 for $1,100. Hey, look, yeah, you get a Core i7 and all that. I would argue, look at the potentially the Surface Pro, Microsoft Surface Pro 4, even though it's technically not a 2-in-1. Come on, really? I think that it's just probably, in my opinion, a little bit better device, but that is my opinion. $1,100, depending on what you want to do with it. Nothing wrong with the Yoga. I think it's very popular. You can get much cheaper 2-in-1s from Acer, for example. Asus, I think, has one as well. But they're claiming it's the Lenovo Yoga 900. Okay, best video photo editing laptop. Guys, right here, this machine. Honestly, it is, to me, one of the best values out there. If you're, look, I'm going to pull this back up here. If you are in the market and you're debating between a MacBook Pro and a Windows PC, look no further than the Asus ZenBook Pro UX501. I'm going to tell you something. I want to share this with you. When the time comes for me to get rid of my desktop, for it to move on, I probably won't have another desktop PC. I will probably get a laptop. And it'll probably be something very similar to the Asus ZenBook Pro UX501. This is $1,500, 16 gigabytes of RAM, a quad-core i7, M.2 storage on it, super fast storage, 4K display, not that that matters, okay, on a laptop, but there you have it. Best gaming laptop, Alienware 17R3. starting around $1,500. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just not a fan of, I'm just not a fan of Alienware. To me, you know how people hate on Apple for their stuff being overpriced and so forth. I get the same vibe from Alienware, especially their desktop machines. I give their laptops a little bit of credit. Some of them can be a reasonable value if you get the right coupon codes, etc. But their desktop machines, especially like the Alienware Area 51, it's a total freaking ripoff for what you get. Other than the weird case, I mean, look, if you want a gaming desktop PC, build it yourself, or heck, pay somebody else $100 to put together for you. You're going to be happier in the long run. You're going to save a lot of money. Alienware is just overpriced for what you. There's something that doesn't. I guess there'd be a few Alienware owners out there might get pissed off. Fine, be pissed off. You overpaid for your computer. Just that simple. But hey, if you like the glowing Alienware head, that's fine. As far as gaming laptops concerned, Asus ROG series of laptops, good stuff. Razer, hard to beat Razer, though they are spendy, but you are getting a quality built machine. In other words, Alienware is not all that in a bag of chips, so I don't necessarily agree with this thing. Let's move along. All right, go back up here to the best Chromebook, Toshiba Chromebooks 2, the CB35 from $296.70. Again, Acer's got a whole ton of different Chromebooks. I say look at the Acer stuff, but nothing wrong with Toshiba, but look at Acer as well. I'm going to have to do a show. I don't even know what the future of Chrome, the Chrome OS. I think it's just going to merge in with Android. That's what's going to happen. The best of Chrome and Android is all going to mix together into something new, probably in a few years from now. Let's talk about the best sub $400 laptop. That's the Dell Inspiron 15, the 5000, 12.5-inch display. There you go. It says it crams in the power and versatility of a high-end productivity system to a 2.8-pound laptop with 15 plus hours of battery life. Whoa. That's some amazing battery life. I don't know much about this particular model. And finally, the best small laptop is the Lenovo ThinkPad. There you go, starting at $836. So, boy, they're really advertising. Oh, you see right here? You see this? Razer Blade Stealth. Now that, folks, is a gaming laptop right there. And you know what? I think that it's time to talk a little bit about what's going on that's a bit weird with Microsoft. How about you? So, news of the weird from Microsoft. Here we go. You ever hear of Microsoft Garage? If you're not familiar with Microsoft Garage, they are a group of engineers that are given a certain amount of latitude to develop projects that they're not currently involved with Microsoft. They can use, like Google has the same thing, 20% of your time you can go work on, do your own thing. And so these engineers get together and they call it Microsoft Garage, and they use people from Microsoft Research and whatever to go and do whatever they want to do. And they came out with an app called Fletch. Now, Fletch, basically, can you take a picture apparently of a dog? Let's see, pull this up here. You can pull up a picture of a dog and it'll identify the breed, but it can go a step further and tell you the kind of human personality best fits with specific breeds. And just for fun, the app will even take an informed guess what kind of dog you or your friends might be. Now, why? Well, why, dear viewer, am I bringing this up? Because is this app available on Android? No. Is it available on Windows? No. Is it a Windows Universal app? No. Where is it? Who got it first? Apple, iOS. Right? Why is that? Why not Microsoft? Why would you be paid by Microsoft to be indulged to write an app to turn around and you develop on iOS? What are you saying, folks? Are you saying it's easier to develop for iOS than it is a universal app? Or to get it onto Android? Android, by the way, biggest market out there. Why would you not make this app for Android? Why iOS? I find it very, very interesting. It's weird. Windows 10 is a hit. Android's a hit. Wouldn't you want this app to be able to run on Windows 10 or on Windows Phone? Wouldn't you want it to be able to run as a universal app on Windows? Wouldn't you want it to run on the largest market of phones and mobile devices out there? Android? No. It is iOS. And I find that extremely weird and somewhat troubling. I think there's more going on. Is this Microsoft's way of admitting defeat in the mobile space? I don't know. You let me know your thoughts down below. So that is it. This is the first show, hopefully the pilot, as I called it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I look forward to your comments, your views, your ratings, your thumbs up, thumbs down. All those I'm going to take into consideration into making this into a regular thing. And let me know. So thanks so much. I'll talk to you later. Take care.